half a dozen times, and I couldn't make head nor tail of it. He said, but let me tell you something, I got a friend of mine who I went to university with, a fellow called Black, lives up the road. I said, oh yeah. He says, would you know him? I says, no, but I know what. There's a few fellas in the jail that's doing life down to him, going to give evidence against him. And he says, yeah, but he says, he's a good friend of mine. He said, we grew up together and went to university. And I was having dinner with him 3 weeks ago at my house. And I turned around and I gave him your paperwork and I asked him, do me a favour, take that away and look at it and put it into simple, common English language that I can understand. And he said, okay. So he went away and he said, he came back to me last weekend. He said, that's why I'm here today, because of what he done. I says, I thought he got a report. I said, did he make a, he says, no. He didn't do a report, and I'm thinking, I up. Can't prove nothing. He turned around, but it's because of what he told me that I'm sitting here now. Mr. Black told me that there. He said it isn't what the paper is printed on. He said he would seriously contest any of that forensics validity. It's rubbish. And because of that, he says, I want you to sit here now and tell me what happened to you. And I sat with him from fucking just gone 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock that night and told him everything. And unbeknown to me, during the dinner hour, when I was having dinner and he went out and had dinner with the governor, unbeknown to me, he had phoned up the TV people. And he had the TV people outside when he came out and he made a statement outside Gartree Prison, this is all on record, that he was going to the Home Secretary with the Birmingham 6 case. And of course, up until then, anybody that tried to open their mouth and part about us were classed as left-wing Marxists, Trotskyists and IRA supporters, etc., etc. But I'll tell you what, when Sir John Farr stood up, Conservative, 22 backbench committee member, etc., they couldn't turn around and say Sir John Farr was a terrorist or a Marxist, you know what I mean? And that made it easier then. And it was from there, and then of course Chris Mullen, and then the Word in Action, and that was it, and it just snowballed from there.
I know that really of all the 6 of you, it was your letter writing and your passion and your fire that began this whole thing. Indeed. Is there nowadays ever a day when you can forget what happened?
No. No. Every day, there's something goes through your head. Every day it's flashbacks.
I ask you that specifically because I know, talking to Julie and Brian, every day is a day that they have to live with the loss of Maxine.
Exactly. I lost everything.
And it's never anything that they can put on one side.
No, there's nothing. I told Brian and Julie the first time I met them, the one thing that we are never ever going to get, and I told them not to fucking expect it, was justice. We never get justice. They could never give us justice.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, there is one thing that we can get, and it's a thing that we deserve the most, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
That'll do me. I know the truth. I just want them to confirm it. That's all. You know? And I say that's why they put a PII, immunity interest grant, on our papers for 75 years. Barbara Mills done that in 1994. And what you call it, our case papers are not, and the Guildford 4 are not allowed to be open until 2069, 2065 or something, 64. That's the 75-year ruling.
I want to come on to that in a minute, but you don't think, well, there can't be justice in some ways because some of the people involved are dead, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
My understanding anyway is that some of them are dead anyway. But Julie and Brian are seeking justice in as far as it's possible, aren't you, Julie? And the truth behind the things.
Accountability.
Yeah.
I think is
Yeah.
Is
Yeah. What I wanted to ask you was, recently we've heard from Theresa May who basically, I don't know if you're aware, but last year the Mail did a big thing about the 75-year cover-up,
Aye.
right, about the PII. And then during the election campaign, David Cameron visited.
Yeah, I know, and he turned around and said he knew nothing about it, but he will investigate it.
We thrust this into his hand and said, what do you make of this and what is going on? Recently, Theresa May came back and said...
there is nothing. There's no interest immunity grant on our papers.
What do you make of that, Paddy?
I find it astonishing.
Yeah.
I find it astonishing for a start. Alistair Logan, the solicitor for the Guildford Four, he was a solicitor from the beginning.
Yeah.
He's now on the Home Affairs Select Committee for Human Rights or something. He actually thought last year that the Guildford papers only had 35 years on them. So we asked for the papers to be released. And the great father Home Office came back and told him, you're getting nothing. It's a 75-year rule on it now.
That's what Jerry asked for, wasn't it, on his deathbed, was for the papers to be made available to those that he would leave in his...
the Historical Museum.
For them to have access to those papers
Yeah.
as a deathbed wish.
Do you still believe there is the embargo on the papers then, Paddy?
Oh, I know there is. You better believe it. They're covering people at the highest level of government, Labour government in 1974. And I dare say I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few others. And the judiciary. I've said it from the beginning.
So is this...
The government, the judiciary and the police were all complicit with each other in the torture and framing of innocent people. And I make no bones about that.
Yeah.
Just to bring it, I don't know whether I told you about this, Andy, but Christopher, our lawyer, Paddy met with him on Monday, strangely enough.
Yes.
But he's come back and he's found a file in Kew Gardens that he can't have access to because it's under embargo until
49 or something.
49. So, which means it's under a 65-year embargo.
And that document is in relation to the Birmingham pub bombs?
Yes, it's directly to do with Birmingham 6. And he's put in a Freedom of Information request.
This is Christopher, your solicitor?
Yeah, the lawyer, who represents KRW solicitors.
What you call it, I've been to Kew with one of Gareth, my solicitor, Gareth Pearce, a couple of years ago, and we spent days going through everything, because it's all in different sections. And the majority is just media reports and what have you. But then again, as I always say, you never know what you're going to find and things like that there. And we went through it, me and him, for 3 days, every day. And we got so far, we say there was 14 files in this one. We've got the first 12. The next 2 closed.
Right.
Denied access. And we had that with everyone every day. When we come to certain files, there was one that we couldn't open until 2020 something. Then the one in 2049. But for me, the most important files are in respect of the ones that are in the Home Office.
Yeah.
You know, like off the record, by the way, I'm hoping to go and see Maria Eagles.
Yeah.
To have a off the record talk with her in Liverpool. Because she's still a member of Parliament.
Oh, is she? Because she resigned her post, didn't she? As
Yeah, whatever, but she's still a member of Parliament.
Yeah.
She's for Garston and Leith Place, that's the district she represents. Because we checked it and I know she's there, so...
is she the one that did that Twitter about the white van man?
I'm not sure.
Mixed up with somebody else, with
There's
the English flag outside the house and the white. Was that her?
No, that was Angela.
I get them all mixed up.
And there was 2 Eagles. Her sister, that was her sister. Angela.
Oh, okay.
The 2 of them were sisters, Angela and Maria. Yeah.
They're just playing games, aren't they, the government? Because we've talked about this, haven't we, Julie? Because even if they said that, you know, there is no embargo, even if you go back and say, right, in that case then, we would like to have access to all, or we would like our legal people to have access to all.
I did ask her that when
Did
I met
you?
her. Yeah, I did.
And you're not getting it?
I said that to her. I said to the Home Secretary, I said, okay, we don't necessarily need to have access to the papers. I said, because it wouldn't mean anything to us necessarily.
Yeah.
However, and I pointed at Christopher, I said, however, he and his team
Yeah.
would be able to make head and tail
Yeah.
of what they would be looking at.
Yeah.
And why can they not have access to all the papers, please? Because surely, as part of our legal representatives, they have the right, and us as a family, as Gareth Pearce
Yeah.
stated in the documentary that was made about us,
Yeah.
that we have every right. If anyone has the right to have get hold of the papers, it's us.
Exactly.
But was that before she came back and said...
That is before, yeah. It's before.
Right.
That was actually at the meeting.
That was at the meeting
Yeah.
prior to her coming back and
Yes.
saying, look, there's no embargo.
Yeah.
Have we since had the opportunity to go back and say, well, in that case, if there's no embargo...
No, because strangely enough, it's funny. This is something that we have just briefly discussed, Janie and Brian and I. Because actually, I need to ask Christopher and say, do you think we should come back and say, well, if that's the case, and especially with him now finding this one piece, but the problem is that, you see, if we're in a catch-22 scenario, because if I was to write to her and say, I'd get Christopher to write the letter because he knows how to write from a legal perspective. If we were to ask for this, if I'd like to ask her, if it's not under embargo, then how come this one is under embargo? It may not be for 75 years, but it's certainly for 65 years. What's the difference in 10 years?
Yeah.
We'll probably will be dead anyway.
Exactly.
So as such, they are under embargo, maybe not for 75, but for 65 years.
Yeah.
As such, can we please have access to this paper?
Yeah.
Now, one or two things could happen. Actually, one or three things could happen. She could say no. She could say, let me look into it. The third is, it could go missing. Because I wouldn't put anything past them.
Everything goes missing.
I wouldn't put anything past them.
Oh, no. The other thing in the back of my mind is as well that
And everything else that's in the archives might go missing as well, that's under an embargo.
it may not necessarily be a good time to do it in any case, because with the Attorney General considering
Yeah, with the inquest,
you don't want to do anything to rock the boat.
That's right,
to
yeah.
put their-
Actually, I think I might have asked Christopher and he might have said something along those
He
lines.
did. He says,
Yeah.
no, we leave it for the moment.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
because
that was it, yeah.
The Attorney General's getting back to his, but he said before he does that he wants to communicate with any
Anybody involved with it.
interested party.
yeah,
So I've got the papers. I'm going to write a letter to him, and my organisation in Scotland, Mojo, will also be putting in representations as an interested party.
For the new inquest.
Yeah, and my family, my kids all want to be included. So when I write the letter, I will include my kids' names, that they all want to be as interested parties.
Because Christopher thinks it will add some substantial weight to our claim, I think,
yeah,
because this way we've literally got it from both sides.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
One final thing I want to ask you, Paddy. We're planning to run this around about the 15th to coincide with what happened. What would you say to the people of Birmingham, who frankly
I'm disgusted with him. I've said it.
I'm
I've said
frustrated
it
with
before.
him. Yeah.
I'm absolutely disgusted
yeah,
that the people of Birmingham, particularly the fucking Irish, don't want to know the truth. They can muster, 80,000 or 90,000 said for St Patrick's Day. Yet, they couldn't subscribe to Julie's petition or mine.
yeah,
It looks like the people of Birmingham just don't want to know.
yeah.
They have no guts at all. I thought the people of Birmingham, when I heard about Julie's petition, I was straight on it and all my family. I told them, get onto this. I'm not having friends and everything. But I'll tell you what, the people of Birmingham disgust me.
I'm glad you've been forthright like that, because I cannot work out. This city's been lied to in such a big way. I can't work out why people are not absolutely
Up in arms about it.
this
Should be
thing.
up in arms about it.
Yeah, but you see, I'm not making excuses for my fellow or our fellow citizens.
Yeah.
But two things is, one is that Birmingham's demographically has changed beyond all recognition.
Oh, I know
I
that.
mean, the whites are the minority.
Oh,
I mean,
I
that's
know.
fact. That's not a racial slur.
No,
that is
just facts.
And the other is that the authorities, the police and even our council, past council, did such a fantastic job at keeping our dead well and truly buried,
Yeah.
out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look what Maureen Mitchell had to do. She had to fight. She's one of the survivors out of the Mulberry Bush. She had to fight for 25 years to get that memorial in St Philip's Churchyard. 25 years she fought for that. For which we owe her a huge amount of thanks.
And yet it only took fucking 25 fucking weeks for him to say to build the monument except in the Horse and Head Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there is also an irony to that and hypocrisy to that, because the one father who tried to, I think he had something to do with that. The government sent him the VAT bill for that, for him to pay the VAT. From what I understand, I've read it somewhere. They sent him the VAT bill, which come to thousands of pounds.
The father of one of the soldiers that got killed.
One of the victims that was killed in the tube in 77. Yeah.
And they sent
him the VAT bill that was thousands and thousands. He didn't pay it in the end. I think it was in. I think there was such an uproar. It was really. I don't know, but that just shows the hypocrisy and the lies and the deceit of our politicians and of senior management in police. Nobody wants to know. You know, they're more than happy for the likes of folk like us, like you, your dad served in the military, for them to send people to war, and when they get killed, they don't, or when they have PTSD, they don't want to fund to keep them well, to keep them mentally stable, to keep them, you know, as part of civilization. You know, they're more than happy to pay them nothing and for them to put their lives on the line, but the politicians aren't prepared to then look after them.
No.
So if there was no military, who's going to protect their backs?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same with victims of terrorism. You know, they'll go, well, it's just utter hypocrisy. You know, I got a letter off David Cameron in January this year telling me, well, actually, he's good mates with Chris Sims, isn't he? Because apparently that they meet every fortnight or something. Mm-hmm. And basically telling me that he's too busy. His diary's too busy for us to meet, but he's arranging for us to see the Home Secretary. And it took him 3 years to respond to my first letter, 2 years to respond to our documentation that the very nice First Minister of Northern Ireland, Peter Robertson, handed to him on our behalf. And then, once I get the letter from him to say that he's too busy to meet us, he's flying to bloody Paris, drops everything, to go and show support for the victims. God rest their souls. I mean, I cried that weekend.
Yeah.
We know their pain. But then he flies to Paris to show that he support, but he won't meet victims' families of terrorism in his own backyard. You know, he's more than happy to pontificate to other states. I mean, he's in Vietnam or whatever, telling them how to look after their own. What about his own in this country? What about meeting his own citizens, who, by the way, pay his salary that he doesn't really need because he comes from wealth himself?
You better believe it. All his cabinet does.
I mean, it's just such hypocrisy, such deceit. We have been defrauded and been lied to by the very people who are meant to represent us.
Exactly.
What sort of a country do we live in? How can we possibly claim to be a democracy?
After the Paris thing, I wrote a letter to our paper under a pseudonym because I can't write under my own name, talking about the irony that. And don't get me wrong, it's the most dreadful thing, but 11 people die in Paris and they have 1 million people on the streets demonstrating. We have 21 murdered in Birmingham, and it's all brushed under the carpet. Last question then, Paddy. You say that you're disgusted at the apathy of the people.
Oh, definitely. I can't believe it.
I think, as a journalist looking on, admittedly a supporter of Justice for the 21, but I think one of the strongest things that has happened has been the way that you have linked together.
Come together,
It's got to be for the good and so on. Is there still time for the people of this city to actually really throw their weight
Oh, definitely they should, yeah. There is plenty
There's still
of
time to do that.
There is plenty of time.
Yeah. What should people do? What can they do?
Well, for a start, it's about time the members of Parliament in this city. The people of this city should be bombarding their members of Parliament.
Yeah.
They have the balls to stand up and demand a public inquiry into what happened in this city in 1974.
Yeah.
But the MPs here, they don't want to know either.
Yeah.
As if they would rather forget it. But the people of the city here should force them to do it. And other surrounding areas in the Midlands.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Especially with terrorism being so high on the agenda at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, what could be better for, you know, without sounding cold and callous, what could be a better vote winner
yeah.
for them than looking towards the past to clear that up, to help clear the way and avoid any future attacks?
Yeah.
Because as it stands, all they're doing is by keeping it buried and not looking for the real murderers who did it, who planted, who made those bombs and killed those people and left all those injured. What are they doing? By doing nothing, they are giving the green light to future terrorists to literally and simply get away with it. Because that's exactly what they've done already. For 40 years, nearly 41 years, those who planted those bombs, those who made those bombs, are still walking free, have their liberty, and have no fear of ever being caught because no one's looking for them.
Not only that, even if they did catch them, see, there's two of them dead, Mick Murray and Jimmy Gavin. Both are dead.
Yeah.
In respect of the others, I do believe that the other three are still alive.
Yeah.
And even if those three come over here and walked into Lloyd House tomorrow and gave themselves up, I doubt they may be locked up, but I'll tell you what, I doubt very much that they'll even be fucking prosecuted. For the simple reason, if they did,
Yes, the
they
police
would end up come out under the Peace-Good Friday Agreement,
Yeah.
and by the time they got tried, they'd probably be in jail about 18 months.
So it's a
So they'd be out
safe
6 months later.
Oh yes, but the other thing is that it is a catch-22 scenario. Because even if they did walk in and admit it, the police wouldn't want to arrest them. Why? Because then they'd finally be admitting that what they did was wrong and they had set up the six.
Yeah, and they have to explain all
And exactly, they have to explain all that publicly.
That's always been the problem.
And they're waiting, they're not only waiting for us to die, they're waiting for all the police who were involved that night and all the government officials to be involved that night to die, so that they won't lose their pensions, they won't lose their reputations, if they've got one. But you see, the thing is that it will never come out. It will never come out because they are so worried and scared that it would just cause anarchy, because it would show that we cannot have any trust
And the police or the
in the
government.
police or the government.
Yeah.
Or the government. I don't trust a word that they say.